Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. I hope you're having a fabulous Thursday. We're a little bit late to the punch today. Just needed a minute today, but we're here now. We're ready to felt. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. We're going to embark on the creation of Totoro, the symbol, mascot of the Studio Ghibli production house. I finally watched the movie today, just to sort of get my favorite iteration of Totoro. Let me find a good image of him. This is basically, I know it's like, oh no, you can actually see it pretty well. This is actually my favorite version of him, like socially awkward Totoro waiting for the bus. I might, if we have time or if we feel like it, I'm debating whether or not we make him have the umbrella. Not like excited bouncy Totoro, but like when he first procures the umbrella and is like, I don't 100% know what I'm doing with this. Yeah, like this sort of a thing. Where he's like first given the umbrella and is kind of like, I don't really know what I'm doing. With said umbrella, that's sort of the Totoro goal today. And then we'll also make the little leaf hat that he's wearing as well. We'll see, because there's like some three-dimensional elements to him, like his whiskers and his like toenails and fingernails. So I'm not entirely sure if we're going to, what's it called? Like make those three-dimensional, or if we'll sort of paste them on his face. You know what I mean? That I'm not sure about yet, but I guess all we can really do is start and hope for the best. So I'm gonna try the technique again where you create like a base out of floss, and then you add the colorful elements to it afterwards. So we're gonna create a little ball, and then we're kind of gonna go from there in terms of shaping him into the character that we want. At least that's my plan. So we'll see how it goes. Because he's basically like egg-shaped, really, when you look at him. So if we start with this, and then we sort of, once we get this to a certain density, we can then sort of mold it into a bit more of an egg-like shape. And then we can add the colors to it afterwards. I'm not sure if I want to, actually no, I probably will, like attach the arms and then attach the arms as this color, or do them in the gray color that we're gonna end up making him. I'm not sure yet. I think we'll do some color blending in terms of getting like the actual fur color, the color we want it to be, just because I have a few different grays, but I don't know if it's like the exact gray, you know what I mean? So that's what we're going to work towards. Shadow is snoozing in the bedroom. Maybe he'll come over and say hi later. We've been having a pretty lazy afternoon. We went for our morning walk, and then we've just been like hanging out, watching movies and TV most of the afternoon. I did do laundry. I wasn't like completely unproductive today. I did actually get something done, but you know, we kept it pretty nice and light. I think because for me, like, I don't know if it's more for him, it's more for me, like we did some like leave alone training with him yesterday, where he stayed home by himself for a whole hour and 15 minutes. But that's like a stressful, sort of big eventful thing for me. And so, yeah. Basically, if I don't have to leave the house, I don't want to. and I had no reason to leave the house today aside from taking him for a walk. So I need to create reasons. I know I was like, oh, I'll just like go hang out in the cemetery or go hang out at the caf and do that. But I didn't want to today. I just wanted to stay at home and snuggle on the sofa and watch Totoro and Snowpiercer. Two completely different types of genres of entertainment. Because I watched Totoro and then I had time before getting ready for stream, so I watched an episode of Snowpiercer, and then I had the season finale, and I was like, I can't not. It's right there. So that's also part of the reason why I'm a little bit late. Actually, I finished it way before, like, getting time to prep for today. I think it was more the, sorting out the laundry. I had to hang up the laundry. That's what made me late. Not watching too much, Snowpiercer. That's the hill I'm gonna die on. Yeah, hope everyone is having an okay day. Our day has been going not too bad so far. Just want to fill in some of these gaps now. It's like while we continue to make this the shape and density that we want, I also want to sort of create a bit more of a smoother base to attach our like actual final colors, our Totoro colors. So the places where there's sort of gaps where I made the knot, just want to go over that with a bit of fluff just to bring it together a little bit more, if that makes sense. I don't know, I'm keeping it nice and chill today. I've had like, I think this is like my 4th cup of tea. Been drinking a lot of tea today. No, maybe it's only my 3rd cup. It's not bad. Remember my friend was asking me, because she like made a comment. She was like, you don't drink a lot of water, do you? And I'm like, no, because I find water really boring. I drink a lot of tea. I think especially now too, because I'm so freaking cold all the time. I say that right now, I'm like a little roasty toasty. But usually during the day, right now, I seem to be quite chilly. So I think that's also the reason why I've been drinking a lot of tea today, because I'm like, tea is warm. Like water is, I'm not gonna drink hot water. I'd rather have flavored hot water in the form of tea. One of the things I was thinking about when I was watching Totoro today is how the cat bus would probably make a really cute needle felt. Though my plan is to, like, we're doing Totoro from this film. I don't really want to do a different, like, another character from the same film. I want to do different character, like, each character from a different film. So far we've done Howl's Moving Castle. Now we're doing Totoro. Next we'll have to pick it, like, we'll pick a different movie. Because we have 2 more weeks of needle felting Thursdays for Studio Ghibli month. So I want to come up with some different characters. I'm not quite sure which ones I'm interested in. I'm still going back and forth about like either a No Face from Spirited Away, like a Kodama from Princess Mononoke, even though I'm not sure how I feel about the Kodama being needle felted. He might still look cute though. I'm not sure. And then, yeah, so those are my 2 other potential ideas. I know, actually, no, you know what the other one was? Gigi from Kiki's Delivery Service. I think we'll maybe do that next week. I think that will be pretty straightforward. Yeah, and I feel like they're a pretty iconic character in the Ghibli universe as well. A lot of times when it's like interesting when you Google like Studio Ghibli merchandise, or like you look for like Studio Ghibli either like t-shirts or different things like that, a lot of the characters you'll end up coming across are obviously Totoro, a lot of Calcifer, and a lot of Gigi. Those are sort of like some of the more iconic characters, I think, that they've merchandised. It was interesting because I was IMDb trivia-ing after this, like I usually do every film that I watch. And one of the things that was in the trivia was that originally, well, first of all, the film was double billed with Grave of Fireflies. I guess because they weren't sure how this movie, it was like, I guess maybe like a financial risk. This movie was considered a financial risk for the studio. So they partnered it with one that maybe had the potential for more box office success or something. And the movie originally flopped, and I think it took about 2 years or something, I think it was, after the release of the film for them to recoup the cost of production. And that's only because they started selling Totoro plushies, and that helped to drum up like interest in the film again. And so yeah, I thought that was interesting that it wasn't actually originally a success, and then sort of after the sale of the character memorabilia, it sort of renewed interest in it, and then it became the pop culture icon that we know and love. Speaking of which, so in London at a theater called the Barbican, they did a stage adaptation of My Neighbor Totoro, and they started I think it was November was like the opening month for the show in London, and they're running it from November to like early January. And the other day, I think it was like yesterday, I looked to see if I could get tickets. I wanted to see how much the tickets were. I know my brother-in-law also really likes Totoro, and so I was like, oh, like that, maybe that would be a good Christmas present for him. Isn't the entire run of this production sold out? Everything is completely sold out, to the point where on the website, it's like, you know, this production is completely sold out. You might have the occasional like return of tickets, and so you have to basically be checking every day to see if someone's like returned a ticket for you to buy, but there's no guarantee what like seats you will get. And the tickets range from like 25 quid, like, or it was something like the range was like, you know, for like 30, 40 quid up to like in the hundreds. So it's like if somebody returns like the top tier ticket, like that's your only option, or somebody returns like a nosebleed ticket, that's your only option. So it's like it completely starves you for choice. But I guess if you really want to see it, it won't matter. I think the way that the Barbican is arranged, though, there's kind of like no bad seats. I think there's like higher up seats, but it's like angled in a way that I think you get a pretty good viewpoint sort of wherever you are in the theater. I've been in there once. I could be severely mistaken, but that was my perception of it. But yeah, so speaking of the cult classic that is My Neighbor Totoro, yeah, it's completely, the production for this this adaptation is completely sold out, which I thought was incredible. But hopefully, because it's been so successful, they'll actually extend the run of the show. And then maybe the second run I can get tickets to go see it. We're basically making an egg. Like, that's sort of, like, outside of, like, limbs, like, that's basically Totoro's essential, like, body head shape, is just, like, egg. So, see, like, this is, it's pretty ding-dang close. This is definitely the size we're going for. Probably a bit more, pointed at the top and more voluptuous more towards the bottom. But right now we're still just like securing all of the fibers. So we'll get to the shaping in a moment. listening to calming cinematics, calming cinematics on Pretzel Rocks today. Usually I've found in the past that it sounds like the calming cinematic still sounds like too epic and grand for me, but it also feels like appropriate for Studio Ghibli films, because I feel like as much as the soundtrack for many of the Ghibli films are quite relaxing, there are some, like, you know, there's like literally like fighting moments and things like that in some of the films, so some of the score can be quite like epic sounding, so it felt appropriate for today. Okay. Guess we don't actually have to make him, because usually I'm so used to making my like needle felting characters so incredibly dense. This still has a bit of bounce to it, but maybe that's all right. Okay, let's sort of, if we're deciding that this will be the bottom, so we'll sort of round this out, make it a little bit chonkier at the bottom. And the goal always is to make them able to stand up on their own. Totoro also has like little feet, so we'll add those in after we can like get him to stand up. We can just kind of tack them on the front. Because we're also covering the whole thing in like gray wool, so we don't want to make him like, we want to make him a little bit basically we're going to be putting more layers on it, so we want to make this at a like get this to a size that also accounts for the fact that there's going to be more layers of wool on here, if that makes sense. Okay. Just gonna like again have this be a bit more of a pointier top, so we need to eggify this a bit better. That's not bad. Round out the bottom a little bit more, like make it sturdy enough for him to be able to sit up. There's like a bit of a gap between the feet and his like butt, but I'm not sure how successful I'll be at trying to make him stand up on 2 feet. So we're sort of just gonna allow him to stand on his, to like almost like sit stand, if that makes sense. Okay. think for ease, I'm going to, I don't know, we'll see. Probably not have him hold his umbrella. Just be shocked Totoro with a leaf on his head. Because now we will make some arms. And then I think we will then, once we sort of make the arms, then we can wrap everything in the wool, in the gray wool, and then just like redefine the arms afterwards. So if I take maybe that'll be enough. And then we separate them here. Calcifer's also here. You can't really see him, but there he is. He's off to the side. He's cheering us on. Cheering us on from the sidelines. Okay, there's... Okay, and then the goal is to make some arms that we then attach to either side with the leftover tail portions. So we'll work on this. I think we probably can add the three-dimensional nails and fingernails and toenails and stuff. We will attempt that. That will be the goal for the plan. They're gonna have to be a lot smaller, but it's good because we have a lot of density to get down here. I think it'll be okay. Over to the side. We're drinking chai tea today. We're on a chai binge. So if we're operating sort of on the assumption that that's sort of, I feel like his arms are quite far down on his body. They're sort of like there. Okay, cool. That's all right then. So we can, yeah, we're doing all right then. We're felting it to sort of the right place. They're definitely not, I guess they're like as thick maybe as his eyeballs. What's one of them? I'm just trying to figure out like how much thinner we need to make this in comparison to the rest of his body. I don't know. Make this a little bit thicker. Sort of like when you back tease your hair to sort of create volume. That's what I'm trying to do here. Because when I'm moving the fibers in to make the point of the hand, I always find the hand portion so much thicker than the rest of it, because that obviously had all the fibers kind of coming into themselves, and you don't have that as much the further up you get. So if we can sort of reverse engineer it so that when we stick it on the body and we go to felt it, like this isn't going to be sticking out more than the hand, like the whole arm will sort of be sticking out of itself. At least that's the goal. And like I said, for tomorrow's stream, if we don't have a chance to finish Totoro today, we will work on him tomorrow. I've like reserved Friday for working on more cross stitch, but with the option of like if we don't finish our needle felting project, it would then bleed over into the Friday instead. So we're under no pressure. We will get him done, whether we get him done today or tomorrow, because we got calcifer done. Actually, I think it was like 2.5 hours, so he didn't take as long. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, now the goal is to make the same on the other side. I always find anytime I have to make limbs or make things that are like meant to be the same, they're always just that little bit different. But I guess that's what happens. It's not a, you know, crafting isn't a science. So everything's, you know, it's like I'm estimating this. So my output might be a little bit different. Not might be, I know it's different from like eyeball to eyeball, limb to limb. Same thing happened with calcifer. His eyes ended up being slightly 2 different sizes. We got them the same in the end, but it happens. I think luckily the good thing is because we have such a long tail with these, as long as the hand portion is the right size, if the tail bit's a bit shorter or longer, that actually works to our advantage. It'd be different if like I said, for making the circles or the eyeballs, you don't have anything to like attach it to, like there's no tail, that doesn't sort of matter. The whole shape has to be the exact same, like the exact size, if that makes sense. So with this one, it's only the bottom half of these things that need to be the right size. The tails are not part of the finished product, so they can sort of be as long or as short or as thick as we need them to be. So yeah. Another thing that was interesting, reading the IMDb's from My Neighbor Totoro, is originally it was meant to only be one child that was like age 7, but then Miyazaki wanted to have like a conflict or some sort of like, you know, tension riser towards the end of the film, like in the 3rd act, and so it made more sense to split the little girl into 2 little girls. So they kind of took the average girl who was 7 and then created Satsuki, who's 10, and then Mei, who's 4, which is interesting because I didn't realize that Satsuki was that old. I thought maybe she was 7. Mei I always sort of pegged as being like 4 or 5. I knew she wasn't in school yet, so that made me think she was definitely like below the age of 5. So I was thinking 4 or 3. So it was 4. But yeah, I didn't realize that Satsuki was that old. But yeah. And then it was partially autobiographical, or like it took elements from Hayao Miyazaki's own life, because when he was growing up, his brothers, like his mom also was hospitalized a lot she had spinal tuberculosis, and it sort of alluded to in the film that that's the affliction that Mei and Satsuki's mom suffers from, and that's why she's in the hospital. So, yeah. And then there's like a quote of him saying, you know, I had to make the main protagonist's little girls because if I made them little boys, it would be like too personal of a movie to make, because I think it would remind him too much of his childhood, whereas this way he could allow himself a little bit of distance from it. And then it's really cool because one of the trivias, which I kind of already knew about, because it was 2005. There was a Japanese World Expo, and they recreated Mei and Satsuki's house from My Neighbor Totoro. They made like a life-size replica of the house for this expo, and the grounds of the expo is now the place where Studio Ghibli Park is. So it's basically like an amusement park, but it doesn't like have any rides or anything. It's more like an immersive experience into the worlds of the different films. And so it worked out because the house from My Neighbor Totoro was already on the World Expo lot before Ghibli Park was stated to be constructed there, so they sort of didn't have to build that part of the exhibit, essentially. And one of the things that I watched a YouTube video, like a tourism YouTube video, kind of going over what the plans were for this park. And so I guess phase 1 of the park has already opened as of like this month. So this is like brand spanking new. There already is like a Studio Ghibli museum that's been open for a long time, but Studio Ghibli Park, like this is brand spanking new as of November. And then 2023, they're going to be opening the second phase of it. And one of the things that I thought was incredible, which makes me want to go and visit that even more, is that one of the things that Miyazaki said when they were creating this park is that they didn't want to have construction anywhere that would require them to cut down any trees. So they only built on land that was already like cleared, which I thought was really admirable, especially because a lot of the themes in his movies specifically revolve around like not being vicious to nature and like having that balance between the natural world and like, you know, the I guess artificial world, quote unquote. So the fact that they then kind of preached that in the creation of this, that was really cool. And so there's like a park that you have to walk through to like get to the Totoro exhibit, and I'm like, that's incredible. I'm like, I much prefer that. Like I've not been to Disneyland, and I went to Disney World when I was like really young, so this isn't something that I would have clocked on, but I feel like at least it seems like all of this Ghibli Park and even the museum and that sort of space, these spaces, there's a lot of like natural greenery there. It doesn't seem like overly manicured, or it's like really, yeah, like it just feels like it's more cohesive with the sort of natural surroundings and like the nature of the area, versus like sort of Disney World or that sort of theme park style where it's like clear the whole thing, build it up, and like artificially curate, you know, nature, instead of like forests sort of naturally already occurring. So I quite like that. So it's definitely, I already always wanted to go to the Ghibli Museum, but now that there's also like a theme park, I think that would be really cool. It's definitely like a bucket list item for me for sure. There we go. Here's some like Princess Mononoke, Ironville vibes in the music right now. Or not Ironville, Irontown. Did I call it Ironville? Whoops. Yeah, for some reason, this one seems a lot denser than this one. Usually what happens is when I separate out the pieces, the first one I work on always ends up being a bit denser than the other one, but it seems to be the opposite problem this time. But we'll level them out. The playing field will get leveled. Just might take a moment. I think once we attach these, then we'll go in and actually cover it with Totoro colored fur. Because I think like the ears, I was gonna say maybe we try to attach the legs, but I was just gonna attach them afterwards, like just kind of at the bottom of him. So yeah, I think I'm still gonna do that. I don't know. Maybe, no, because I think it'll be a bit harder to cover the feet, so I think we'll just make the feet out of the end Totoro color. This is usually just because, you know, the wool is a finite resource, and if you are going to be using, you know, a specific color, it's helpful to use a base color before you kind of go over it, so that way you're not wasting wool on something that's not going to be seen. It's all the like internal part of the project, so it's not necessary to have that be a specific color. So it's a way to save on the actual the wool that you're going to be using to actually like create the color of the piece. But for little projects, it's like not worth it, because by the time we make little ears and then cover them in the gray wool, it's like we might as well have just felted little gray ears to start. So that's what we're going to do for those pieces. But the arms will make sense because they'll be against the body, and then when we wrap everything and make the definition with the gray wool that those are hands and like limbs and stuff, I think it will make more sense that way. Maybe if I work on this part of it, it'll feel like this is the right size. Because it still looks too big, but I think that's because the hand portion isn't as felted. gonna start firming up this section again as well, just like what we did. We're gonna tease the hair of the of the wool, just to, we're back combing it to create more density up the arm of the project. Now it's getting a little bit thick again. Thickness wise, that one's thicker. Maybe that will help. See, now it's getting to the point where it's just trying to make them as samey as possible. Right now, we're not quite there yet. We're getting there, but not quite. Let's see. Is this one too long now? I think that's not bad. I think this is a guy's a little long, so we'll make this one a little bit longer just to try to compensate for that. Obviously we can like flatten them down a bit once we've attached them, but I think that will help. Trying to figure out what side of him is sort of the main. Over here? Possibly. Let's examine. Okay. Here's our Totoro. Oops. Yes. Basically like, I don't know, like a finger's length up the body, possibly. That seems like the right amount. I think I just have to do it. I just like put a couple of felted, and then we can always like move them a little bit. There's like enough movement that we can make sure we're happy with the placement. Like, why am I freaking out about this? I think it'll be fine. Just do it, Tasha. I think because naturally it's going to misshape. It's going to misshapen the egg as we add stuff to it, but we can always reshape afterwards. Good afternoon, Nungdae. How are you? I hope you're having a fabulous Thursday. Okay, let's spread this out. So when we felt it, it doesn't look as messy or like as okay. Oh, excellent. How was his day? Been back from I guess it's been a little while. I'm like, you've been back from half term for like a hot minute now. It's been like a couple weeks. But yeah, hopefully he had a good day. I was told I had an error. Hopefully that didn't drop anything on our end. This does feel like it's a little bit short again still, but let's sort of do that. Yeah, what do you hey man, honestly, I feel him. It's like, what'd you do today? But it was good? Yep, cool. That's all that matters, right? You're like, I don't know why it was a good day, but it was a good day. And you're like, that's all we can ask, man. All we can ask for. Thinking right now, Totoro's kind of looking a little minion-esque, but we will fix it. Once we attach the gray wool, it will make more sense. It will start taking shape. Because was it that I always say and that I've been told for 90% of the time, it's not going to look anything like what you think it's what you want it to. The desired outcome will not be the desired outcome until the last 10% of the journey. But that's all right. It's like the ultimate test of my perfectionism brain. What do you mean there aren't specific steps to get a desired outcome? It's like, no, it's just a whole lot of fucking around and finding out. You know what he also kind of looks like? He kind of looks like, What's that game? Not Among Us. What's the other viral sensation that happened? Fall Guys. He kind of looks like a Fall Guy a little bit.
It's tea time.
Thank you very much. To be fair, it's like...
It's lecturing time.
It's quite lukewarm right now. But thank you so much for the stretch. I did a bit of stretching before stream started today because my neck and shoulders have been incredibly stiff. Oh. Here are all my shoulder cracks. Arigato. Thank you very much. Let's just reassess because it's starting to look more like a blob, and I'm like, no. Totoro does kind of look like a blob to start. It's all right. We're still doing okay. He can still be a blob. I'm like, how to build a Totoro. First, make an egg-shaped blob, add some arms and some ears and some feet. And there you go. Okay. I feel like that's our base sorted. Hello. Good afternoon, Saul. Oh, here, while I'm here, let me shout out my friends. And shout out. Oop. That's all. There we go. Only one shout out can be active at a time. Please wait a minute. That's silly. Okay, let's wait a minute and then we'll do it again. How's last couple days? Yeah, definitely. Those tree pics are from yesterday. Had a little forest adventure yesterday, which was, I think, very needed. I think Shadow really needed it. We both really needed it. He was being super annoying that morning. And so I think he needed a big runaround. He had a lot of like excess energy built up in himself. And then we got to the first he ran around because he saw a little spaniel to play with. And then we got to the big clearing in the forest that we usually go to. And usually he like waits for me to throw a ball and then he takes off. That yesterday, he gets to the clearing, takes one look at me, and then goes boom, and just like runs full tilt into the middle of this field, like to the point where there's a bit of a hill, and he goes booking it around, and then to the point where I can't even see him for a hot minute, and then he comes barreling around, just like running like the wind, stops off, kind of looks at me, and is like, whew, and I'm like, yeah, dude, was that a lot? Did you really need that? And usually what happens is we always bring him like water and give him a drink. And so he goes over and like sits at a bench, or not sits at it, but he goes and like stands by the bench because usually that's where we give him water, but we give him at the bench further up. And I look at him and I'm like, buddy, that's not our bench. And he's like, huh, oh yeah, okay. And he trots over to the bench and like waits there for me to get there because he's like still, you know, a good 50 paces ahead of me. And he was like, meow. I was like, okay. Obviously you needed that, sir. But yeah, it was good. And then, you know, he slept most of the afternoon, which is always ideal. And then we met some kids. Like, it was like a mommy's group day out, because there's a little, sort of field section where there's a bunch of, like, geese and ducks and stuff. And so, like, we walked over there, and Shadow was looking at stuff, and I took hold of his, like, harness, just because there was, like, little toddlers walking around. He wouldn't have done anything. I think he just might have wanted to try to give them kisses, and then it was like, oh, this big black dog is, like, massive and goes to, like, get all up in your face. I could see that being quite daunting for a child. But anyway, so this little toddler, he must not be, like, more than 2 or 3, and he's, like, sort of dawdling around in his, like, rain suit. And I was like, oh, hi, like, how's it going, to the moms and stuff. And I was like, oh, like, does he want to pet Shadow? And he's like, oh, would you mind? Like, he really loves dogs. I was like, yeah, no problem. I'll, like, hold Shadow's face just to make sure. Because, like, Shadow's a good foot taller than this toddler. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to traumatize this child today. He might have been fine. He might have been okay with it. But I'm like, I don't know. So I was like, the guy, like, I'm holding onto Shadow. And I'm, like, sort of crooking his head away from the baby so that he doesn't, like, get all up in this baby's face. And then the mom comes over and, like, takes the baby's hand and, like, goes to, like, pet Shadow. He's kind of like, oh, wow. And so he was, they were quite chuffed with it afterwards. And then we walked a bit further, and then he took off again, and I, like, with his zoomies, and I think they were like, oh, wow, look at him. So, yeah, so he quite enjoyed that. There was a bunch of kids, like, around, and I was kind of like, oh, like, I think he's quite gentle with them. But again, I think it's just literally the fact that he's a big black dog, and if he gets all up in their face, they might not enjoy that. Morning, Ray! How you doing? Alright, now we're gonna do some, wool mixing. Actually, that might have been an okay color to mix. Just because we're trying to get a distinct Totoro gray. It's like a grayish, like a dark grayish. So there's some dark gray. Here's a bit of light gray. Just feeding. Yeah, oh, awesome. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Would this color work? That might be that's kind of like a browny beige. We'll chuck a little bit in there just for funsies and see if that doesn't add something to it. Why not? Okay, now let me see. Apparently I had to wait it's annoying that I can't, like, shout out multiple people at the same time. Shout out. Did I spell it right? Now I'm, like, questioning everything. Okay, let's try again. Hey. I think Shadow has a British gentleman about him. Yeah. Oh yes, it's his little, you know, yeah, his little beard, and it has, like, little tufts of, like, gray and white. He kind of already. It's weird because there's moments where I look at him, and he full on looks like a puppy, and then other moments I'm like, you like a little old man. Like, you just, it's one extreme to the next. I'm like, you either are baby or you're, like, grumpy old man. There's no in between. I am excited for Sunday, guys. If you don't know and you're not already following Saul, you need to give him a follow, because I'm going to be hanging out with him on Sunday during his new segment called the Nostalgic Hour. I think it's called the Nostalgic Hour, at 8 p.m. UK time. So that's going to be, you know, Nostalgia-tash after dark. So we'll see how conscious my brain is at that point, because I tell you guys, my quick-wittedness disappears as the sun goes down, so I just might be like a barrel of mush come that time. But I'm very excited for it. We're talking about my favorite nostalgic things, and it's just gonna be such a fun time. I'm so excited. Yes, it's the whiskers, isn't it? Yeah. Oh man, whiskers. Okay, let us do the mixy mix. Wasn't it? Yeah. Exactly, right? I know. How fortuitous. I'm so glad that you thought, you know, that I was the perfect person to kick off this inaugural show. It's gonna be awesome. And like Saul's incredible at like creating like digital sets. So he sent me like this set, and it's totally like a talk show with all the different nostalgic things we're going to be talking about like laid out in the virtual set. And I'm just like, this is just the coolest thing ever. I'm like, he's so creative, and I want you to experience how creative he is by coming to hang out with us on Sunday. If it's not, you know, if it's not too much to ask. Okay, we are going to... I haven't actually blended any fabric in a hot minute. I think we did like a little bit of blending yesterday, but or not yesterday, last week, but not a lot. So we're gonna try to really get her blended. I think that's kind of going all right. Because there is also the sort of like tan, more beige section of his belly. I think we might actually have to go a little bit darker. I don't know. We'll see. I think we might be alright. I don't know. We will find out. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like definitely. You always ask such poignant questions, and then it sort of like delivers me on a roller coaster tangent, which I appreciate. You sort of like hit the trigger, and then I'm just like a wind-up doll that just goes blah, 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 and just like talks all the things. So I'm sure it'll be fine. If anything, we might go over time because I won't know how to shut up. You would have to be like, yo, we're moving on. You'll have to do your hosty duties and be like, listen, we only have an hour slot. We gotta move it along. Okay, let's see. Has the shout out cooled down? Oh my goodness! Bear! Hi, friend! Thank you so much for the raid! Oh my goodness! Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. It's been a hot minute! I had one of those dolls with the pull string after 20 years ago, crept in and sounded so demonic. Absolutely. Yeah, it has been. How are you? How have you been? What have you been doing? What have you been up to? If you guys don't know, my name's Tash. I mostly craft. Usually we cross stitch and needle felt on this channel. Today we're needle felting. Sometimes we get into nostalgic crafty business as well. This month is Totoro, or not Totoro, it's Studio Ghibli month here on the channel. So we're doing all things Studio Ghibli related. Last week we made Calcifer, the fire demon that ate Howl's heart. Today we're working on Totoro from My Neighbor Totoro. This is our base. I realize he's kind of looking a little bit like Baymax as well, like headless Baymax, but he will be a Totoro once we cover him with fur and give him cute little ears and such. And then during our cross-stitching time, we're working on Howl's Moving Castle. So this is the current state of it. There's a lot. There's like, I don't know, like 16 pages, and we're not even finished the first. So that's what's going on. You're advocating for googly eyes. I was thinking about this today. I was like, you know, is Totoro small enough to warrant googly eyes? I think so. I think we could probably put googly eyes on him. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, wow. Oh, really cool. Oh, I'm sorry to hear you had some health issues, but I'm very, very excited to hear that you're bouncing back. Ooh, you're a VTuber now. Very, very cool. Just realized, am I following you? I better be following you, or else I'll be very upset. I'm not even following you, Bear. The audacity. I'm gonna fix that right now. Gonna fix that shiz right now. Oh, that's so amazing, though. That's so cool. Is your VTuber a little... Is it a bear? Is it a big cuddly teddy bear? Oh, I'll have to go and see. I'm so excited. I want to know what your VTuber is. You're playing Genshin Impact. Do you play that? This is a silly question, but do you play it on the PC? Because I know that it's a mobile game. I've looked into it, and then I also think that it might deplete my battery, so I haven't downloaded it. But I've heard good things about it. On the PC, okay, really, really cool. That's always the thing, because I find that there's a lot of like mobile versions of PC games, and then the mobile version is like the lesser version of it. So I'm like, oh, there's no point investing in that. That's awesome. So were you like on a quest today? Was it, because I don't know, is it story based, or is it more like sort of WoW where you have different quests and campaigns and things that you go through and it's like more open world? Do you know what I mean? I don't know if it's like story based mode or more open world with quests. So please explain. It's stories and quests. Oh, very cool. Best of both worlds. That's nice. That's an exciting thing. It's probably cool too, because then it's like you can switch it up. You're like, I'm feeling the story, and you're like, no, I just wanted to be just quest about today. I think that's awesome. Okay, now we are going to cover Totoro in fur. And hope it goes well. I've not done this technique in a hot minute. I guess since we've been working on the tree, because the tree did the same thing where we had a base and then we covered it with the bark color. So we'll see how it goes. I'm like, I don't know why I'm so nervous. I'm like, it's fine. We'll fix it. Again, it's that thing where I'm like, it will not look like the thing until we have like 10% left to work on. It's like 90% of the time it looks nothing like what you want it to look like, and you just have to trust the process. And I struggle with that. I am not a fan. I'm like, I want to know with certainty that it's gonna work out. And you can't promise yourself that with needle felting. So it's a struggle. But we work through it because I get happy with the results. It just takes a minute. It's meant to be a hairy egg. Honestly, it is. It's a hairy leg with arms. It's like a beast egg. I know you're just being a little shit and trying to, you know, psych me out, but it's not gonna work, so... Let me also... Okay, has the cooldown worked out? I've not forgotten about all my other friends that I know stream. Here we go. I think that's everyone who's popped up in the chat so far. And if not, and you stream, let me know. Okay. Phase 1 of the Totoring. Yeah, so this was, ooh, when did I do this? On the weekend? So this is my matte, this is Hollow Taco, is the brand that I use. And this is from their like tea range, which, duh, you know, I needed them. I had to have them. And then they have like little gold sparklies on them, but then I covered them in a matte top coat. So I quite like it. There we go. Let's focus. Focus on me. Reminds me of jelly beans. Oh, that's really cute. Yeah, definitely. They're like, yeah, they definitely have, because I feel like jelly beans too, they do have a bit of like a matte. Yeah, they're not super shiny, are they? I say this as someone who has jelly beans in her little stash jar. Absolutely. Yeah, sparkly jelly beans. That's the vibe today. Yeah, there's some like Jelly Belly jelly beans that have those different like kind of different color spots on them. Ooh, what are you getting done, Ningday? Still deciding. Oh, do you have like a couple ideas in mind that you're just like not 100% on yet? Or are you like completely like, ooh, I don't know? Because are you going, like, are you doing sort of more, like, are you going Christmas yet? Or is it not yet? Or like, you know, holiday vibes. I don't know, each one different country flag, yeah. Ah, ooh, I like that. Like a sort of neon trippy mushroom. It's always so funny because every once in a while I'll look up things like on Etsy or on not Pinterest, but like different places just to look up like mushroom related things or like goblin core things. And it's like you either have like your traditional sort of mushroom thing or you have like psychedelic 70s trippy mushroom thing. So I always find it interesting when I come across the like the psychedelic mushroom side of the internet. Instead of just the, like, foraging side. The United Nations. I would like you to do that. Though, see, you'd have to make some cuts. So you only have 10 nails. So who is part of the United Nations? You know what I mean? Because obviously you can't have all the countries represented on your nails. And there's more nails than there are continents. So you can't, like, you know, do it by condensing it into continents. So who would be, you know, who would make the cut? Who would you allow, which flags would you allow to be represented in the United Nations? Because you can only have 10. Definitely will. Oh my god, could you imagine? Honestly though, like there's some incredible nail artists out there, so I'm sure it could be done. Yeah, I guess we would just have to have all of the countries where all of our friends are from. So we have England, we would do Wales, we'd do the US, do Canada. I know we have a friend on the map of friendship from Hong Kong, so we could include China in that, even though I think they're declaring themselves separate from that, because I know they're no longer they're no longer a British colony, but I don't think they want to be part of the Republic of China either. So I don't know if they have their own flag. The Union Jack, that's 4-1. That's cheating. Japan, US, Canada, Italy, Germany, Brazil. No, interesting. You asked for that and get French on each one. Yeah, maybe. Some of the, like the Mexico, that would be difficult. But I think, yeah, Italy, Germany, those would be pretty simple. In terms of, ooh, is this trippy mushroom nails? Yep, acid trippy mushroom nails. But also, like, you know what? These are very nostalgic nails. Like, they scream very, like, Y2K to me as well. They're very, like those kinds of flowers and things like that. Like, I definitely had like little posters or like little knickknacks and things on my walls when I was growing up that had those designs on them. That's really cool though. I like them. But yeah, the Union Jack would be a lot of line work. You'd have to have like a really, because the thing too is you'd also have to make sure for certain, like, to make it more visible to see, to have really long nails. There's like certain nail styles or certain like designs on nails that really only work with long nails. But then there's some that work for short nails. But I'm like, you trying to put a Union Jack on a short nail? I think that would be really difficult. Dutch friends though. Yeah, the Swiss flag would work. But yeah, any flag that's just stripes, I think would be okay. That would be easy to accomplish. The Mexico flag would be similar in like difficulty, like the Wales flag, where it's like you're drawing like a creature in the center, a tiny creature in the center of the nail. Okay. Hairy egg is ongoing. I'm like, I know we made it worse, but hear me out, guys. It'll work, I promise. Yes. Yeah. I think the color, the stripes are the same. It's just the, yeah, one has a tiny eagle in the center. Oh, hi, bud. You joining us now? Look, we've been graced with the presence of Shadow. You really can't see him. He, like, camouflages into the sofa. Don't ya? He's playing hard to get, you guys. He's looking away from us. It's very rude. He's like, whatever, Mom. I don't care. It was really great. Last night, he didn't wake us up to have to go to the bathroom at 3 in the morning. Like he's been doing for the last couple of nights because he's too scared to go outside because he's still like worried about the fireworks. So he wasn't going out unless you like physically stood out there with him. So Liam went and stood out with him a couple nights ago, but he still woke us up at 3 a.m. because he needed to poop. But luckily last night he didn't do that. So I like to think that he's getting sort of back to his regular schedule. The schedule that was like pre-fireworks disorientation. So that's good. Because it's not enjoyable having to wake up at 3 in the morning and then having to stand out in the cold because somebody... It is interesting though, because the 2 times that I did go with him, like in the middle of the night to go outside, there was a cat in our yard. We have a couple, like, well, actually a couple. We have a few. I've talked many times about the, like, outdoor cats that live in and around us. And they're feisty, but this is a different one. This is like a fluffy black and white one. There's another black and white one that roams about. This one has like much more fur around its face and things. But yeah. So I went downstairs and he like poked his head out from down there and was like, oh shit, I got to go. And I'm like, yeah, bud, you better. I'm like, I'm gonna send my dog outside and I think you need to skedaddle. So. And then it doesn't help too because then Shadow barks after him and I'm like, buddy, it's 3 in the morning. You can't be barking like that. People are asleep. But then also I'm like, the cat needs to know what's up. But yeah, then part of me was like, oh shit, does he think now he has to wake up at 3 in the morning because he has to protect the garden from the cat? I'm like, I hope not, dude. I'm like, the cat can have the garden at 3 a.m. That's the least of our concerns. So luckily that doesn't seem to be the case. Watch, I've jinxed it now and he's going to be like, no, actually. But as of right now, he's not interested. Well, that was quick. We obviously did not craft enough fur. Yeah, right? Exactly. I'm like, listen. What is good that's like not helpful for me but helpful for Liam is that now because before it's like always in the middle of the night, Shadow wants to come into bed and he wants to come under the covers, and I used to like bend over backwards to try to get him to come over on my side and like not wake Liam up because Liam works full time. And Shadow would like has no interest. He was like, nope, I only want to come into bed on Liam's side of the bed, like that's it. But now I can like lift up the middle of the bed and he'll kind of come in between and sort of like hot dog style like go in between the two of us. So that's helpful for Liam. I have to wake up, but I woke up when he was bugging Liam to get into bed anyway, because if he whines enough, I'm like, well, and I'm awake. I'm awake now. So at least if I can deal with it, then I can get back to sleep faster. So that's nice. So we've basically lost all of the shape that we've built earlier, but I kind of knew that was going to happen. It kind of looks like a dog face now with like doggy ears, but we will fix it. She can and will be fixed. Runaway needles. All right. We must make more fur. Might as well make a bunch because we still need to make the feet and the ears. So we might as well make as much as we can. I don't want to use up all of it, but I want to use up a decent amount. Only because I only have so many little bags to put my like little creations, my little thread wool mixed creations in there. But it's all good. Okay. Any of my streaming friends, if you are okay sharing, or if you have any thoughts on this, do any of you guys have channel trailers? That's something I'm looking to like create for myself at some point, but I kind of don't know what to put in it. You know what I mean? I don't know if people, they put like just clips, like good clips from previous streams, or like if they create like a whole little, like almost like commercial for their channel. Do you know what I mean? I'm intrigued by this, and I want to know if anyone else has done it and how they've done that, if they feel like sharing. But yeah. It's that, and then I know I said I would have a new channel point redeem, but I just didn't get around to it. I promise I'll do better, guys. I'm just trying my best. I do originally just made a compilation of clips. Okay. A short video montage. Is the montage of the clips? Do you know what I mean? So the montage is like... Or is it just sort of like a here's the various things that I do on the channel sort of thing? It'll be easier. I'll just go and watch it at some point, but just curious now. Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah, part of me almost feels like sort of making almost like an infomercial, but that's sort of not, I don't know, I've never seen like a cozy vibe infomercial before. Usually they're like really chaotic and intense, and that is not the vibe of the channel. So I'm not sure. Yeah, that's what I think I might do. The only thing too, I guess it's just like a lot of work. I have to think back to like good clips. Do you know what I mean? Because like I don't have a lot of things that are clipped from my streams, so I don't. I'd have to go in and like manually find it. Do you know what I mean? And then so I'd have to remember. I'm like, what happened during this stream? I don't know. I have to just sit and like go through them and be like, oh, this was funny or this was interesting. I'm not sure. Still too many clumps of the same colors. We must blend further. So much blendage. That's weird. Oh, it's almost like my ear popped or it like plugged. The sound like shifted in my head from one frame to the next. It's like, you know, when you have double audio and it goes to single, or like double stereo to single stereo. That's like what my ears just did. That was weird. I don't understand. It's really not. I'm like, was that blended enough? Absolutely not. Oh, so I have 3 more Ghibli films to watch. 2 of them that are available on Netflix, because I have a conspiracy theory that Netflix has geared all of its Studio Ghibli promotion for like children and families. And there is one movie that is not available on Netflix, and it is one that I don't think you can market to children because it literally takes place during the Second World War, and that's called Grave of Fireflies. And that one was, I think it was actually the second official, like, Ghibli studio movie. The first one, Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind, was before the formation of the actual Studio Ghibli company. So it's in chronological order. Before the invention of the Studio Ghibli company, there was Nausicaa, but that's still very like within the Ghibli wheelhouse, so it's officially like canonically included, but it was like retroactively included. First movie with the studio is Laputa Castle in the Sky. Then it's Grave of Fireflies, which was released as a double feature with My Neighbor Totoro. But the only Ghibli film that's not available on Netflix is Grave of Fireflies. So I have to buy that from Amazon Prime. But yeah, my theory is the reason why Netflix hasn't acquired the rights to that one is because the entire Ghibli wheelhouse is presented as being like a family-friendly children, like for older children's cinematic universe. And that one is not like the others. I've been told it's going to be very sad and I'm probably going to bawl my little eyeballs out. But I'm excited to see it because I feel like it's been like critically acclaimed, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I'm gearing up for that. And then yeah, then there's just 2 more left. Watch, I found a really interesting thing that I want to needle felt from Grave of Fireflies. That would be wild. I do think, though, we're going to go with Gigi, the black cat from Kiki's Delivery Service. And then we just need 1 more. So I'm not sure if I want to do No Face from Spirited Away. Possibly. I think that would be an interesting needle felted creation. Okay. Let's continue. Going for full coverage. I could have probably cut corners because there's a center portion of Totoro's stomach that is like a beige color. We probably could have just gone around it, but I think it just to make it look more cohesive, it probably makes more sense to do the full coverage and add the belly later. So that's what we're doing. That was my tout process, and that is what we are doing. I was trying to think of like what my I'm quite enjoying the fact that I've like themed these last 2 months. So I was trying to think of like maybe what I could do for a December theme. But I think maybe what I want to do instead is I want to do like a charity month. Because I know now Twitch has it built into itself where you can set up your like revenue stream that it donates directly to a charity. So I'm thinking, because, you know, they say that Christmas season, you know, it's the season of giving and such. So it might be a good opportunity to give back to a charity for that month. So if that doesn't really translate into a craft theme, it might just be like, finish your whips is probably what's gonna happen. It'll just be like, you have 25 outstanding current projects. You cannot proceed to the new year until you finish some of them. Okay, that's a really good base. Let's get some coverage on these hands. What sort of cinematic universe is this song from? Calming cinematics, I guess. I'm hoping, oh, there's still a bit of, I'm trying to do full coverage on here, but as you're felting it, it's like thinning out the fibers. Because if I really focus on the front of this, then ugh. How far up am I making this? About that far in terms of like distinct arm definition. And then the rest is just there you go. He's like starting to look all like nice and covered up here. And you look at the back and you're like, ooh, we need to work on that. Okay. Hopefully this will be enough to fully cover this one arm. Just because. Like maybe I should have wrapped these before I attached them, but we've made a decision and we're sticking to it. calcifer. Just trying to get more hand definition here because I'm not happy with the amount. Jeez, it's like as soon as the sun goes down, it gets so windy and blustery. You're like, calm down. Where was this all day? Finish covering the back, and then we'll work on reshaping sort of the definition that we lost while we were covering him. Hope for the best. Okay. Now... Okay, let's take a look at where we're at. Okay. We're still in decent position. I think maybe what needs to happen is this needs to get a little bit thinner. And then this needs, yeah, everything just needs to get sort of elongated slightly. I think if we're operating on the assumption that like this is going to be the front of him, because I feel like that's where I sort of position the arms a bit more forward in this way. They actually are quite flat. I was a bit concerned that the arms were too flat, but they actually are kind of supposed to be, so that's all right. We'll just flatten them out a little bit more then. Thing is, I don't want his head looking like too, like I don't want him to get like a super pointy head. Just want it to be that little bit. Yeah, I think if we make it any more like pointed, it's gonna come off very egg-like, or like cone-like. We don't want him to look like a cone. I think too, there just needs to be like a general cleanup of all of the wool, because there's still quite a bit of like spikiness. How that ended up being so much more intense on that side, but sort of like elongate him through here as well. There, actually, I think that worked really well. He's not flat enough on the bottom, but I don't want to lose the shape, so I'm gonna like ever so gently try and flatten out the bottom of him. very tentative. He tentatively stands up on his own, but... And then just very gently, I'm hoping to catch some more of these loose fibers and just secure them a little bit better. Because we want them to look fluffy, but I don't want them to look messy. That's the current concern, I think. So I think now the best course of action might be to work on some of the, because I feel like maybe the feet and the ears are sort of like finishing touch pieces. So I'm thinking maybe the belly should be next. Do I have, these are whites. This is sort of like, that's more of a beige. What if I mix this with this? Because it's, I don't know if that's too pink. Do you know what I mean? Should probably just keep it simple for the belly though. We don't really want to mess about with too much. So if we just keep to this color and just hope for the best. And I think what I'm gonna do, oh, you readjusting, bud, is, I don't know, I don't think I want to felt a circle. Like, I don't think I want to felt a circle and then attach it. I think I want to almost like splay out enough fluff and then sort of create the circle with the fibers, if that makes sense. So as long as I sort of start it in the right place, which is kind of like just above. And then his eyes and nose are here, so maybe just a little bit lower. I guess we can start lower. We'll start in line with the shoulders, and then if we think we need to add it, like to round out the circle higher up. Actually, maybe like there. And then we can fill it in afterwards. It just looks like a giant mustached walrus now. Now he looks like a mustachioed walrus, but that's fine. And then how far out does the, oh, it goes out quite far actually. It's quite a large circle. And it comes essentially right down to the bottom. You can tell I'm like so focused. I'm like, don't fuck up the circle, Tasha. It's okay. We can always add more if we need to. There we go. You sort of like flip it in onto itself a little bit. That is starting to look a-okay. We'll probably have to add some more just to like fill in some of the patchy bits, but in terms of the shape, I think it's pretty dang good, if I do say so myself. Have some more cold tea. Trying to clean this up as much as I can to get rid of any of the fibers of the lighter color sort of bleeding out into the main Totoro section. There's no guarantee that I'm actually, gonna get them all The only thing I really struggle with is like all the leftover tiny fibers, like how to really hook them and get them locked into place. Something I sometimes struggle with. But we're trying our best. Is it the most even circle on the planet? That's debatable, but I think that gives us, I think we need to extend it more out this way. I think the cleanup of the fibers also like shrunk the circle a little bit. Which is not the plan. Okay, I think that's all right. So now we'll just add a little bit to fill in the gaps that we have in terms of color. I think once this is done, we have the little like chest tufts. There's like little tufts of gray in the chest there. So we'll do that part next. And then I think if we'll have time, we'll probably do the nose and the eyes. And then I think, or I don't know, maybe the feet. I always like to put the eyes on last because I feel like that really like brings the character to life after you've, you know, put all this base in. It seems really silly to me to almost like put the eyes on it, essentially like giving the character life without having all of its bits and pieces attached. But it might help us orient the ears and things. Or it may not. I don't know. I guess we could probably do the feet and the ears after. this after we do the chest pieces if we have time. Just because, yeah. I think we could probably do the nose as well. But yeah, just like for some reason I just feel like adding eyes is like the last touch, you know what I mean? It's like finally bringing the character to life. And I don't want him to be brought to life without his ears, you know? It just seems silly. Okay. So that's the first bit of covering. And then if we do this last section here. So the idea is if the outer parts of the circle are more densely colored, so we don't have any gray poking through, then we should just be able to lay a little tuft in the center, and then that should complete that. Pretty good as it is. I just want to make sure that it's like really opaque, especially because we are going to be putting more gray on top of it. So, oh, Donzilla, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you being here. I hope you're having a fabulous Thursday. Thank you for coming on this Totoro creation journey. Still, we haven't lost his shape, his circle shape, have we? Okay, I think that's good. We'll just add a little tuft in the middle, and then I think we will be ready for the next phase of the belly of the beast. Guys, we're only 2 follows away from 190. So exciting! If we can get to 190 by the end of November, I will be a very happy chappy. belly is procured. Just gonna have a wee snack break. Oh, ice cold tea. Okay, let's just look. Progress shot. Looking pretty good. We're not losing the shape of his head. So that's all right then. Hopefully I've added enough room between, like hopefully this section up here is enough room to add all of his features. I think it will be, but we have what, 1, 2, 4, 9 little chest triangles essentially to add. Let me just take a granola bar break. Again, I apologize for the munches and crunches. So I think this is going to be very similar to when we've made the smile for Calcifer, where it's going to be like taking a little bit of thread and sort of like folding it up into itself and making it really tiny to then give us the bits we need. Okay. I know I maybe should like make them all first, but I'm hoping if I sort of do this center one, and then that'll help us orient where we put the other ones. This is the center here. They're like little triangles. Let's make sure that they're triangle-y enough for what we're trying to accomplish here. Hopefully this isn't too big. It might be a little bit thick, but hopefully we can like squish a lot of that down into his body. Ooh, I'm supposed to fit 2 more on either side here. Might be a bit tight. Unless we make this guy even smaller. I think that's as tight as we're gonna get it. I think that looks, because the other thing too is that as we get into the fibers for the other triangles, it's gonna pull this guy as well. That's just like how it sort of works. So I definitely think we need maybe a smaller amount. Okay. Roughly how spaced out are these guys? They're relatively close together. Yeah, there's no way we're fitting. Okay. Unless we make you a lot smaller. I'm gonna try. My goal is to try to be, you know, accurate. Movie accurate. So we are gonna try to make this smaller. Whether or not it ends up working, I don't know, but we're gonna try. Because we have to fit 2 more either side of him, either side of like this little triangle. I do think we probably took too much wool to do it. Because yeah, that seems like too much. By the time you crumple all of this up, we decide that this tail is gonna be like here maybe, and then this tail is gonna be there. Now we're not getting enough tail, like point definition, which isn't ideal, but we'll try our best. Guess we can always go back in and like add more fibers if we need to. That might be what needs to happen, just to make sure. Here we go, that's looking like the tiniest bit better. As long as it kind of looks like a triangle, then I think we're doing okay. So now I don't know if they're close enough. Can we like scooch them over? Now I wonder if this one is going to be the right amount of fluff. It is all trial and error, friends. All trial and error. Yeah, it's pretty close to the outside of him, so that should be fine. If it sort of ends there. Yeah, see what I mean? It's like sort of pulling the shape of the stomach out as well. But we can try to gain that back after. I wonder if there's a different way to sort of like achieve. I guess I could have done the triangles first and then attached them, but I don't know. Don't know if that would have made them any clearer. Also too, I don't know if like with this guy we just happened to grab some of the lighter of the blended colors, so this one's not showing up as distinctly as some of the other ones are. They also look like they're drastically three different sizes, but that's alright. There's only so much we can do. We can only make them so tiny. I don't even know if this one looks like a triangle. I hope it does. Okay. Now let's do the two on the other side. Yeah, we definitely need a bit of the darker thread in this. Or else I don't know how well it's going to show up. Maybe what I should have done, instead of like putting each tail either side and then sort of poking it out, I should just make the tail end of either side one of the triangle points. That might have been the right move. That one looks a bit better. I'm a bit happier with that one. I think because originally my goal was to, because if you look at the triangles on here, they're like a bit swoopy. So they sort of like come up at the bottom, and so they're almost like little like dull arrowheads in their design. And that's what I was trying to accomplish with this, and then I think it muddled the point of the triangle portion. Whereas if I'm just trying to make triangles, I think that will end up being a bit more successful. I wonder too if I need to, yeah, almost like move these fibers out of the way, make these a bit more firm so that they show up a bit better. Hey, don't you? I need to move this guy over, because I think he's not close enough anymore. Okay, sort of, kind of, maybe. Do one more. Then we'll do the top ones. It would be easier to make a point. And then see, now I don't know if I have enough fluff for this guy. Maybe that did work. Like, watch, we do the entire body and all that. Like, we did that in a couple hours. It's like these little dots on him are what are gonna take the longest. Just trying to get them right, you know what I mean? See, now that one looks really good. Like, what happened? Again, as long as they look like triangles, they don't really from there, but we just make that the goal. I'm gonna try to save the center one because I find that now it looks really jarring. So we're gonna try to make it less wonky arrowhead and more just like straight triangle. this section over here isn't dark enough, so it's playing a bit of contrast with this. There we go, hopefully that adds a bit more depth to that section, and then the triangle will show up a little bit more. If I mess with them anymore, it's just gonna make them worse. So I think we'll just sort of kind of, the idea is there. The idea of a triangle is there, so we just need to move on to the next ones. Okay, so there's 5 there, and then there's 4 in like the gaps in between it, like so. So we'll work on that next. These ones also look a little bit bigger, but I'm not gonna try to do too much with it. Actually, they're relatively the same size. I know it looks way too big. Take some of the fluff out of that. Okay. See, now that doesn't seem big enough. Haji's Scoob. Okay, that's not bad. Not bad, not bad. Again, the illusion of triangles is what we're going for now. That's actually been the best one so far. This has been the best one so far. I think because it is that little bit bigger, even though I don't know if that's a good idea, but hey ho. Way too much. Nope. I'm so intensely focused on this. Don't wanna fuck up these triangles. Now, we can honestly say they all are different sizes and shapes and what have you, but it's all good. Okay, last one. I'm going to make this one a tad smaller, only because the one on the other side is a tad smaller. I don't want it to look so out of place in the lineup. think I'm happy with that. They're not 100%, but still pretty. The idea is there. You know what I mean? You get the idea. No, we can always try to shape them a bit later on, but right now I think it doesn't really make sense to do so. I don't know. Let's see. Let's try just because just because that's how my brain works. Let's just see. Let's just theoretically try to point these. No, it's not really a feasible option. Let's not fuck with it anymore. Let's not mess about with it. There we go. Okay. So, let's see. Does he still? No. I need to re-flatten his bottom a little bit. And then I think what we'll do, we have 10 minutes left. We can try maybe for some feet. Either side of him. That would also probably help stabilize him a little bit. Which is always ideal. Okay, so he's like barely standing on his own. Let's figure out. His feet sort of come out like this way a little bit. So what I'm thinking is just kind of doing, because we'll add the nails later. Same with like the fingernails. So I'm thinking if we just sort of make like almost like little pancake feet and attach them afterwards, that might work. I don't think this might be too much, but we'll see. No, I think that should be fine. This might be too much on that side, but I don't know. Let's quickly. Similar to the hands, where we're just sort of making the foot portion and then leaving a bit of a tail so that we can attach it better afterwards. Still way too big of a foot. Just fine, because we need to make this a lot denser. I don't really know. It's hard to sort of tell how big his feet are. They're not that big. Yeah, that would be like a Totoro clown foot. So it needs to be much smaller than that. teasing the back end of this just to make sure that there's a bit more going on here. We will be back here tomorrow, 3 p.m. UK time to finish him. I don't think it'll take the whole 3 hours, so if we do finish him before the end of stream, we can then switch back into cross-stitch mode. So we can do a bit of both tomorrow if there is time for that. Yeah, I think that's a decent size. Make it a little bit shorter and rounder. Just see, it's really hard to tell. So that's in here. The foot sort of is like, to be fair, it sort of comes down like that. Yeah, it's like a really teeny tiny foot. I'm just gonna attach it now. I know that's like really sort of how I try to avoid doing these things. I try to make both and then attach them, but we're running out of time, and also I just want to see if this makes sense. Well, it's got it, because, you know, once we attach it, we can't deattach it. That's not how it works. No, I think that's good. Yeah, I am happy with that. Okay. Let's see if we can get away with making another one. Again, it's usually Mr. Shadow who decides that stream is over. He's doing all right so far, though, so hopefully we have some time and we can finish this. We did also start stream a bit later today, so I feel justified in going over our 3-hour block. And then, as always, if anybody has any raid suggestions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Why do I feel like this one's not gonna turn out as well as the other one? Maybe we add a bit more floof to the mix. There we go. Oops. Okay. usually try to make both limbs before I attach them, but I just, you know, jumped the gun. It happens. That's fine. As long as we have a decent foundation. Oop! Whoop! Runaway Totoro! Make this a bit tighter and smaller before we attach him. How about now? Is this the right size? Not quite. Not quite. Almost don't have enough of a tail to hold on to fluff this up. There we go. Yeah, it's good. Good enough. Okay, you need to come further back. Yes, right about here, sort of, kind of. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So I'm trying to make a little bit of a like leg situation happen. Oh, I don't know if we made him thick enough. That's annoying. That's alright. Can always add more to the bottom if we need to. Main thing is just about getting this on. This is why we don't attach the limbs before we've fully made them. Okay. Trying to figure out which part of him. Okay, he's leaning backwards. That means that. Kind of has penguin feet. But let's try to make these a bit. See, this one seems fine. I don't know why this one is so much more bulbous. I must not have attached it far back enough. Maybe I also want them like facing forward a little bit. Okay. It's not not exact. He's kind of, yeah, he's looking like a penguin now, but you know, kind of. I think once we add the toes and things, I think it'll make more sense. We could probably actually, you know what, we probably could make these feet a lot smaller. He's also looking a little plumper, but that's all right. He can be, this Totoro can be a short king. It's fine. You know what he kind of looks like? There's like those little characters in Kirby that are like little, I don't know, they have the same body shape, but they have much bigger feet. It's like that's sort of the shape they're giving me right now. Yeah, that's a much better foot size. Let's make this foot smaller as well. Why do I hate this foot so much? There we go. Perfect. And then it'll also help keep him upright, which is the goal. So there he is in all his upright glory. Not bad. Not bad for a day's work. So we have ears left to do. Ears, features, and then we'll make the little leaf that goes in the middle of his head as well. And then yeah, just like all the little 3D like whiskers, toenails, and the like. So we will do that tomorrow. That will be tomorrow's job. So let's just pack all of this up a little bit for now, and then we might as well leave this out because we're working on it tomorrow. And yeah, so pretty soon. Obviously, they're completely different scales. But so far, you know, Calcifer almost has another Ghibli Cinematic Universe GCU buddy to hang out with. So, let's pop these over here for now. Like I said, we will be back here tomorrow doing the second half of our Totoro needle felt. And then if we do finish that, we will continue our Howl's Moving Castle cross stitch. If not, that will obviously be deferred to next cross stitch Tuesday because we were going to be working on that anyway. I'm just waiting to queue up Twitch because I don't like that it doesn't auto host, give me a link to go see my friends. So we're gonna queue that up, and then we'll go and see who we want to raid. Thank you, Nungdae. I know, I'm very happy with how it's turning out. Again, it's one of those where I'm never 100% sure how I want this to go. And then it just, you know, works itself out. That's just needle felting in a nutshell, you know what I mean? So let's go see which of our friends is online. Ooh, aw, Jazzy's on. Well, we have to go see Jazzy, guys. Jazzy's amazing. We love her so much. And we should go and say hi. Let's go load that up. And then again, we will. Oh, this is the first time I've also seen her with her. She's finally having a face cam on after a while, which is super exciting. I'm very proud of her. Let's go and raid our beautiful friend Jazzy. And I will see you guys tomorrow, 3 p.m. We'll finish this bad boy. Be good fun. And then, like I said as well, if you've not already seen, I'm going to be over on my friend Saul's channel on Sunday for a bit of a nostalgic adventure. He has Nostalgic Corner, and that's going to be really good fun. But I'll talk more about that tomorrow as well, just to remind you guys. Let's go see our friend Jazzy.